Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today is such an amazing, amazing day. Welcome. And today you are watching the episode of the 21st Century Legacy Letter Show. I am Jackie Morey. I'm a multiple number one international best-selling author, and I'm your web TV host of the 21st Century Legacy Letter Show. I'm delighted to be with you today. If you're here with us live, please type in the chat room who you are. Tell us who you are and where you're hanging out from. Dr. Becky is already here. Dr. Becky, welcome. Greetings and blessings from Arizona, according to Dr. Becky. Gary and I are very excited to hear from Angie and Paul. Dr. Becky and Gary, welcome. We are so excited to be with you as well. Now, I want to start this episode like I normally do with the attitude of gratitude and cultivating gratefulness in our hearts. So, if you don't mind sharing in the chat room what or who you are grateful for right now, okay? And so, let us just cultivate that attitude of gratitude. I want to share that I'm very grateful for my husband and our children. I want to share something with you. Our daughter Alyssa colored this for all of you who are watching live or on the replay. She said, Mommy, Mommy, I'm coloring something. Would you please show it to your webinar folks? So she's learning how to color in the lines. Can you see that? Didn't she do so well there? Anyway, I'm grateful for my children thinking about other people, not just themselves. We're doing our best to cultivate others. Just being more focused on other people, others oriented. So I'm grateful for our children and, of course, for my husband who's continuously supporting me in this show. I want to read some of your comments. Hello from Crystal River, Florida. That's from Mary. So thankful to be with such an inspirational and legendary coach. Oh, hello, Jackie and Dr. Becky and Paul and Angie. That's from Mary Schlumberger. Welcome, Mary. And Dr. Becky says, I am very grateful for God's rich abundance he provides us with. Totally. And then Mary S. says, that is so beautiful. Hugs to Alyssa. I will tell her that, Mrs. Schlumberger. Of course, I'll ask her to address you as Mrs. Schlumberger. And Paul and Angie are grateful for me. Oh, thank you, Paul and Angie. Well, I wanna let everyone know that we are right now in the green room. So we are interacting with you live, or if you're watching the replay, we're interacting with you on the replay. And this is the green room where we get to just hang out and look at the chat room, read what's in the chat room, and interact. I want to welcome my guests, Paul and Angie Wagler, so that they can also interact in the chat room before we do the interview. And then after the interview, we're going to have the bonuses that they have prepared for you. So you can ask them your questions live if you're with us live, and we're going to give you their freemiums or their bonuses that they prepared for you today. Okay, so I'm going to bring them to the screen. Hi, Paul and Angie. How are you folks doing today? You can unmute yourselves.
Hi, Jackie. We're doing great.
Yeah, Jackie, we consider it a real honor to be on this webinar with you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you so very, very much, Paul and Angie. I am so delighted that you're here with us. There's so much anticipation. People have signed up because they are in different phases of their life. Some of them are wonderfully married and they want to have some new ideas of how to get their marriage to the next level. Some have been divorced and we respect them for that, and they want to get some ideas on how to prepare themselves for their next marriage, right? And then there are some who are single who have never been married, and they want to prepare long before they meet the person that they're considering for marriage. So we have a vast variety of folks with us live and on the replay. So can you speak to that, Paul and Angie, please?
Well, yeah, we're all at different stages of life, and I hope that what we share today is gonna connect with each person who's listening and watching in the specific spot that they're in. And we find that the Holy Spirit has a masterful way of working with the things that are said in a way that it can bless each one, even though we're all in different places. So
Awesome, awesome. Well, I want to welcome Leah. Leah is my fellow PBI classmate, and also she is one of my fellow members in another group. Welcome, Leah. I want you to share a win so we can celebrate with you. Share a win that we can celebrate with you, because that also cultivates the attitude of gratitude, okay? One of my wins, here's what I want to share with you today. Here's one of my wins. Yesterday, actually the day before yesterday, I picked up my kids from school, And we're doing our best to cultivate openness in them, that they are able to open up with mom and dad, right? So on the way home, I said, "How was your day, Alyssa?" And she's talking about her day. And then I said, "Michael, how was your day?" And he immediately opened up that he was bullied at school. And I think that's just great that he's able to open up to me and open up to my husband. So we talked about it. And actually, he was bullied by two classmates of his, and not only was he the one bullied, but also his sister. So together they were bullied. So, long story short, the school that our kids go to, they have an no bullying policy, and so it's something that's not hard to fix, because all we needed to do was go today to the teachers of our children and just shared with them, and they're going to deal with it. They're going to help them resolve that, because all the parents of the school are on board as far as no bullying. So we really believe that the parents of those two boys are going to help those two boys become non-bullies, right? They're not going to be bullies anymore. So to me, that is a win, that our children are open to us. And you want to cultivate that in your children, that they're open to you no matter what season or time in their lives. Okay. All right. Well, I want to share a quote by Seth Godin. "Leadership is the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work." That's by Seth Godin. So I want you to exercise your leadership. And how is that, you ask? Well, I would love for you to please share this broadcast on Facebook and Twitter. At the bottom right of your screen right now, you have a Facebook icon and a Twitter icon. So if you don't mind, please sharing this episode, because I know and really believe that marriages are under attack, and also we need to help singles prepare for the best marriage. Okay, so please share this broadcast, and once you've shared it, once you've clicked on that the Facebook icon and or the Twitter icon, it'll open up in a separate window, and just share it. And we'd love for more folks to join us, because we want to help them. You know, there are people who answer the survey, and folks are struggling. And so we want you to help friends, because you may not even know this, but they could be struggling too in their marriage, or they're single and they're getting frustrated about, about the relationships they've had. So how can we help them? You can help them by helping them know about this broadcast, this episode, and helping them to find out more wisdom nuggets, some keys to help them in their relationships going forward. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mary. You did it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dr. Becky says Gary's win is a new network connection. Awesome. That is fantastic, Dr. Becky. We are rejoicing with you and Gary. Fantastic. Okay, here's poll number 1. We're going to do a poll right now. And this is the question. If those of you who are married, how would you rate your marriage at this point? Is it amazing and you're open to making it better and better? Or it's amazing and you don't need much help right now? Or it's good and we're open to more pointers, strategies, and tips? Or it's good where it is, neither of us want to work at our relationship? Or it's terrible, but I'm committed to working on it? Another choice is it's terrible, but thankfully my spouse is committed to working on it. Lastly, it's terrible, but we're both committed to working on it and getting outside help. So just fill it out. This is an anonymous poll. Nobody will know your answer. I will never, ever know who answered what. It's anonymous. And so just fill it out. And I just want to gauge and let Paul and Angie know where we were at for the live audience. Okay. So I'm going to end this poll in 7 moments. I like the number 7. 7. So fill it out right now. 6, 5, 4. Just fill it out. Tap them and just click whatever you want, and I will not know your answer. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let me end the poll. All right. Paul and Angie, the answers are 50% say their marriage is amazing and they're open to making it better and better. And another 50% said it's good and we're open to more pointers, strategies, and tips. Can you speak to that, please?
I thought we were muted, but I don't think we are.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, it no matter how good your marriage is, it can always be better, because there's always room for growth. And so even for the one who says their marriage is amazing and they're open to making it better, I mean, that's probably why their marriage is amazing, because as long as we remain teachable in life, good things will happen, and we will move to better places. So that's really encouraging.
Wonderful. Awesome. I'm going to move to poll number 2 because I want to start the interview very, very soon. So I'm going to reset the poll. And here's poll number 2. This is for both singles and marrieds. Would you consider getting a marriage mentor or attending a seminar or reading a book on marriage to learn more slash improve your relationship? So please answer yes, I am serious about taking action on these options, or no, I don't need any outside input. My spouse and I can improve on our own. Please fill it out, and I'm going to end the poll in 10 moments. 10, 9, 8. Okay, this is poll number 2. Please, your answers are completely anonymous. We're using Webinar Jam, and Webinar Jam is wonderful about that. All the polls are totally anonymous. So I'm gonna, where am I now? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's end the poll. My goodness, 100% of the live attendees who answered the poll said, yes, I am serious about taking action on these options. Awesome. Wow, Paul and Angie, what do you think about that, huh?
I think that's great. My goodness, if when we're willing, the sky's the limit, right? When we're willing to work at things, when we have a heart to make things better, it's wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Angie. I totally agree. Now, Dr. Becky says that she just shared on Twitter and Facebook. Wow. Thank you so very much, Dr. Becky. I really appreciate your heart of abundance and your generosity. I really appreciate that. So thank you, Mary and Dr. Becky. All right. Now I'm going to just do a quick plug. For those who missed these episodes, we had Dr. Jessica Vera on our launch. Then we had Sharon Best, Don Cundy. If you want to get the replays, just stay tuned at the end of this broadcast. I'll let you know how to get the replay links. We also had Jeffrey H. Watts, who's the catalyst, Landy Giovanni, Pete Gaffard Show, who is a certified life breakthrough coach. Greg Corhan, an award-winning filmmaker, director, and producer, was last week. This week, we have Paul and Angie Wagler, their marriage coaches. Then next week, we're going to have Michael Zarenko III. He's a very astute businessman. And then after that is Larry Rad, a certified seminar leader, a success coach. He's a team builder, and he had a very successful corporate career with Ford Motor Companies, Verizon, and other companies. And then we're going to have Dr. Becky Slaybaugh. Dr. Becky is a life coach, and she's also a multiple #1 international best-selling author, as well as a clinical pastoral counselor. So please, please, please stay tuned for these episodes. And in the meantime, do your research and come up with your world-class questions for these upcoming guests, Michael, Larry, and Dr. Becky, okay? All right. One last thing. When I hold up a card that says, thank our sponsors during the interview, and I'm just going to smile like this, just bear with me, because what we're going to do with the interview is, we're going to edit it. We're going to cut it out of this entire broadcast, and we're just going to edit it out, and we're going to put in some sponsors in the middle of the interview. Okay. So just bear with me if you see me holding up a card that says, thank our sponsors, and I'm just going to smile, and then I'm going to say, welcome back. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for Paul and Angie. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the intro, and then I'm going to introduce, and then I'm going to introduce the legacy word for the day, which is love. You see that back there? Love, L-O-V-E. It's something that we all want and something that everyone needs, okay? Then after that, I'm going to introduce my featured guests, Paul and Angie Wagler, okay? So I'm going to do the intro video, and then we're going to start. Okay, here we go. Welcome back. Okay, now we're going to count three, two, one. Three, two, one. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jackie Morey. I'm a multiple number one international best-selling author, and I'm your web TV host of the 21st Century Legacy Letters Show. Welcome to those of you who are listening to this episode. And I'm so excited about today because today I have my featured guests, Paul and Angie Wagler, who are marriage coaches. And today's legacy word for the day is the word love. My goodness, what an important word. It's something that we all want and something that we all need. What is the definition of love? I looked it up on an online dictionary, and here's what I got. Love, one of the definitions is it's an intense feeling or of deep affection, an intense feeling of deep affection. Number two, it's deep romantic or sexual attachment to someone. And another definition is great interest or pleasure in something. Like, for example, when people say, I love to go on vacations, I love traveling, I love football, or I love to take a walk in the park. They use that word love, which is great interest and pleasure. All right. Now, here are four definitions of love in the Greek language. Number one, in the Greek, they have four different meanings for the word love. Number one is eros, E-R-O-S. It means sensual or sexual desire. They also have another word, which is love, translated love in our English language, and it's called philia, or some spell it phileo, and it means brotherly love. This is love between a brother and sister or between friends. It's brotherly or sisterly love between friends, between brothers and sisters, between siblings. A third definition of love in the Greek language is the word storgi, S-T-O-R-G-I, and it means familial love. This is love between parents and children, children and parents. Now, the fourth definition of love is agape. And this is my favorite definition because to me, it's the ultimate definition of love. And agape is universal, unconditional love that transcends. And it's a love that serves regardless of circumstances, right? So here is my definition of love. You want to know Jackie Moore's definition of love? Here's what it is. Love is not a feeling. It's a 100% full-on commitment and a decision to help the other person become all they were destined to be and to desire their highest good. So I can love someone who is not even part of my family because I can decide to love them and desire their highest good. So whoever it is, whether it's somebody who's a friend or somebody who's an acquaintance or somebody I don't even know across the world that I want to help, maybe they've been in maybe some kind of a worldwide, not worldwide, but a catastrophe on the other side of the world. I want to help them. I want to love them. I'll send them some financial support. I'll send up prayers, right? Because I want to love them and I desire their highest good. And then between husband and wife, or between your family members and those who are closer to you, you get to help them to reach their full potential, to reach their destiny. And to me, it's a decision, and to me, that is the definition of love. Here's a quote that I found, and too bad it's from somebody that's unknown. It's an anonymous quote, but it says, "When I say I love you more, I don't mean I love you more than you love me. I mean, I love you more than the bad days ahead of us. I love you more than any fight we will ever have. I love you more than any obstacle that could try and come between us. I love you the most." And it's an unknown source, but I love that quote because to me, it really signifies that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter if their physical beauty or physical handsomeness fades away. You have made a decision early on to love them. You have 100% full on commitment and have decided to love that person. So that to me is an amazing quote. And one more quote that I want to share because I'm honoring my marriage mentors who mentored Jim, my husband, and myself, even when we were courting. So when we were courting, they were our mentors and through the engagement process. And they're also our marriage mentors after we got married. And this is their quote: "Marriage is the hardest work you'll ever love to do." And that's from Dennis and Linda Trout. Dennis Trout passed away a few years ago, and I still want to honor him. Linda Trout is one of my favorite friends, and I want to honor her. Marriage is a lot of hard work, but it's the hardest work that you'll ever love to do. All right. Well, I would like to now move on to the introduction of my featured guests. Paul and Angie Wagler are best selling authors. They're speakers, marriage coaches, and founders of Arise Now. They are known for their 2-minute wake up calls, lessons learned books, and transformation series workbooks. Paul and Angie want to see people's lives transformed. Paul is an avid cyclist, manages a mountain bike team, and has worked in the transportation industry. Angie has a passion for creative pursuits and has worked in design, interior decorating, photography, and graphic arts. Paul and Angie have been happily married for over 30 years. They make their home in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada, and have 3 grown children and 1 much loved dog. I would like to welcome to this episode of the 21st Century Legacy Letter Show, Paul and Angie Wagler. How are you doing, Paul and Angie? It's good to be with you today.
Well, we're doing great.
Yeah, Jackie, we're really honored to be with you on the show today, and we're just so delighted. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's my honor. Well, Paul and Angie, who would you like to dedicate this Legacy Show episode to, please?
Well, we're going to be dedicating this show to our children and to the future generations, so their children and their children and their children after them. So, dear Jamie, Melissa, and Samantha, we dedicate this 21st Century Legacy Letter Show to you, as well as to your future children and grandchildren.
Very special. Thank you. Well, Paul and Angie, would you take a couple of minutes to share a young adult story each? An encounter, a turning point, or milestone that impacted your life and or your character, please.
Okay, well, I'm going to share the story which I call Psalm 37:4 story. So when I was a teenager, I went to this Bible study that my mom went to. It was kind of not any one church in particular, and there was a quote that one of the people at that Bible study one night shared. And so I was 15 at this time. And he shared Psalm 37:4. Well, that verse is, delight yourself also in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of his heart. But then he added, but that's not just to get your own way. That you just really want to have God's heart. Well, at that time, I had this huge crush on this young fella who was Paul, and I was convicted. I had these thoughts of like, I shouldn't really like him. So I prayed that night and I said, oh God, I won't like him anymore unless you want me to. And if he's the one for me, then you need to do something quick so I know it's you. Otherwise, I won't like him anymore. Well, the next morning I went to school. I didn't know him. I just had a crush on him, as a teenager. And that day, I met him in the hall before school. I talked with him at lunch. He walked me to class after lunch. He walked me out to my school bus after school. And he called me up that night to ask me out. Well, I realized from that point in my life that I think this is the guy for me.
Oh, wonderful. Paul?
Yeah. Well, so yeah, we were pretty young when this all transpired, the story that Angie is sharing. She was 15, I was 16. And so it was about 3 years later that I went off on an adventure in Florida, which was a big deal for a Canadian boy to go to Florida for the winter. And I was going to a place called Christian Retreat called, they had a thing there called Institute of Ministry, and it was a 10-week course that I was going to take. And so this was our first time sort of apart from each other. And so Angie came to visit me down there, but all of a sudden when she came, it was like things were different. Because I had a different circle of friends, and I'd been relating to a bunch of other people, some of them girls, and so yeah, got it. Thanks, Jackie. And so so when she showed up, all of a sudden I thought, I don't feel like I love her anymore. And I was so mixed up, and it was just an awful, awful time. And if we told you all the details, I would sound like I was an awful person, which I really was, because I ended up breaking up with her in Florida when she had come to visit me. Which was devastating to her. And we went through this really dark time. But what it did for me is that it helped to clarify basically what you were saying earlier, Jackie, that love is not a feeling. I was really going by my feelings. It's like I didn't feel like I was in love anymore. But yet, I knew that Angie was the one for me, but it didn't feel like it, right? And so anyway, it took us a little bit of time. When I came back home, we kind of got things sorted out and we got back on the right track. But I learned a very important lesson in that time, is that love is not a feelings. Feelings come and go, but it's the commitment that we have for each other that will see us through all of the times when the feelings are a bit fleeting.
Oh my goodness. Such powerful young adult stories, Paul and Angie. Angie, I love that you were willing to give up Paul if he was not for you, if he was not meant for you. And so you prayed, and then things started to happen. And then, Paul, though it was so hard for you, you did the right thing, and you didn't just say, "Oh, I'm just going to push through with it," but you really listened, and you really were very wise in really deciding, okay, this is not, I don't want it to be just a feeling, I want it to be a commitment. And so that's amazing, because it's such a powerful story. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's amazing. You were both meant for each other. So awesome. Now, Paul and Angie, what could you share, maybe 5 marriage lessons, life lessons that you could share with the folks who are watching live or on the replay? Because there are so many people from all walks of life, and the survey that came in, some of them are single, others are divorced, and others are married and they're having some struggles in their marriage, and then some are having an amazing marriage and just want to get to know some new ideas on how to maybe bring their marriage to the next level. So could you share maybe 5 marriage life lessons, please?
All right. Well, just to introduce this part, Jackie, I wanted to say that we really enjoyed this process of thinking back over our 30 years together, and thinking of what are the things that we've learned. And there's many more than 5, but we've chosen these today because we feel like these are the ones that we're to share in this group. So Angie wants to say a wee bit yet about the introduction.
Okay, so we came up with some points and some life lessons, and we've put it together sort of in a way. I'm just going to say, when at one point in our journey, we built a house. And to build a house, I dug these out. These are the blueprints that we had for the house that we built. It's not this one. It was a house that we built before. Well, when you have blueprints, you have a design. You're going to build according to the design, according to the pattern. Because if you build just by happenstance, you're not going to end up having your desires or having that house built the way you want. So you need to give some thought into how you're going to build your house. And so our points all start with the letter of design. How are you going to design your marriage? And for those who aren't married, these are points that will work for any relationship really too, but we're talking about marriage today. So we're going to start with the letter
D. So it's marriage by design, because good marriages don't just happen. We need to plan and design them. And so the point that I'm going to talk about, starting with the letter D, is our differences. And one thing that we realized fairly quickly, and we probably had heard this talked about, but we realized it when we actually started living together after we were married, is that we have some great differences. When 2 people get married, it's not just those 2 people that are getting married, but in essence, it's 2 family systems that are coming together and trying to get along in the same house. And so we soon discovered that my family system had some different ways of doing things than Angie's family system. For example, in my house growing up. I grew up on a farm, so in our way of doing things, everything was neat and tidy and in order, and everything had a place. You didn't leave things lying around, or you would lose it. It would get thrown out. Literally, that's what would happen sometimes. And so Angie, her family didn't have the same priority on that. So now we come together into this house, and we're trying to find our way about the family system that we're going to live under. And so I started saying things like, one of my mottos is, I hate messy cupboards. Well, that didn't go over so well. Angie didn't quickly adopt my motto. Or another example was, I was really good at sweeping. I had swept the barn many times, and my dad placed a high priority on doing a good job with that. And so when we would go to sweep our floor in the house, Angie, it seemed like she had never really held a broom. And so I was trying to tell her how to hold a broom properly. She didn't really appreciate that tip at the time. And the first time she swept the floor after she was done, I took the broom and swept it myself again, and that didn't go over too well either. So there was some differences that we had to work out as to how we were going to live together, coming from these two different family systems. And what really has been the key in that is some give and take, and realizing that neither system is right and neither system is wrong. They are what they are, and somehow we needed to come to compromises and a way of learning to live together at peace. And so I've learned to live in the midst of situations that aren't just neat and tidy and totally in order, and that's okay. I can be at peace, and it's wonderful.
Wow,
so that's
thank
the
you.
first one, talking about our differences.
Excellent.
Just a little aside on that one. I heard it said once that geniuses have very messy desks. So I kind of like that. So point number 2 is the letter E, express yourself. Well, this is about, there we go. This is about learning to hear each other and communicate clearly. That's really key in our relationships. And when a marriage comes together, there's two distinctly different people. And I want to, Paul was always the communicator. He was always the one who could say something. I was a shy. So I wasn't always able to, I didn't even always know what I was thinking about things. I couldn't express myself very well. And it's very important in a marriage because it's two individuals in a marriage. And they each need to bring their piece to the pie, so to speak, or otherwise one person is ruling and dominating and the other person may not be happy. And I was early on unhappy about certain things, but it would come out in ways that weren't so good, because I would be kind of like the pressure cooker. This doesn't feel right. I just kind of shove everything down, and then I would blow. And I would blow, and it was usually not the issue that was the issue that I was blowing up about. It was everything else that I had never expressed because, for whatever reason you think, it's not that important. It's not that important, or whatever. But that whole piece is we need to express ourselves, and we need to have dialogue, and we need to be able to talk about things on how we're going to do things and in our marriage. So you each have a part, and you each have an important piece to share in the marriage.
Wonderful.
On that one, Jackie, I just want to add that early on, like I'd say to Angie, "What's wrong?" Because it was clear something was wrong, and she'd be, "I don't know," and I'd be, "Well, like tell me," but she couldn't. And then now, years later, she can express herself very clearly. And I have to say, honestly, sometimes I think after she expresses herself very clearly, maybe it was better when she couldn't tell me exactly what was going on. because now it's like, oh dear, I realize she's right in what she's saying about maybe some of my actions and how they're affecting her. And so it's like, oh, I got to change, right? So, but anyway, in the long run, expressing yourself clearly is good. So All right, so point number 3 in design for the S, we're calling it satisfaction. And this connects in with what you talked about at the beginning, Jackie, about developing an attitude of gratitude. You know, if we have a satisfaction with each other, a contentment with each other, that we're not always thinking about ways the other person could change or improve, because that really is a destructive force within a marriage. I realized over the years that many times I would fall trap to what I call the spirit of comparison. And so I think it's a tool that the enemy uses to destroy the marriage, in that he gets us to think of, oh, look at how good somebody else's spouse is doing, or look how good they look, or look how good they say things, or look how good whatever. It can be any number of things, right? And all of a sudden we'll be like, oh, well, my spouse isn't like that, or they could improve. And it grows this spirit of discontentment and dissatisfaction. And so if we can focus on the good things, the things that we love about each other, and in the process be overflowing with thankfulness, it improves the people that we are in the marriage, which in turn is a blessing to our spouse and improves them as well. But it's coming at it from a whole different perspective than setting out to try to change the other person.
Oh,
so it's satisfaction.
Okay, and then our next letter here is I for intimacy. And here, how do we build intimacy in marriage? And how do we keep it? Well, we need to learn to give priority to our spouse. And I want to suggest, I mean, there's a lot of ways we can do this, but I want to really highlight a point of sharing things that happen to us with our spouse first. You know, there's an energy and an excitement that goes with sharing when something exciting happens, or it could even be something detrimental that happens. But if I call up my mother and have a conversation with my mother first, or if I call up my sister, have a conversation with my sister first about it, that all the energy that goes into that first, when I share it a second time, I'm not going to have that same energy with it. And so Paul would get the leftovers in that case. So I want to encourage us. It's prioritizing our spouse and sharing those delights and disappointments in life with them first. Now, there may be some times that doesn't happen, just giving the situation or whatever, but make it a priority, because that's what's going to help build the intimacy, because they're important and we need to have them as the top priority in our sharing of life.
Beautiful.
All right, and point number 5. You can see here that we've chosen for the letter G the word galvanize. There, is that good? Yeah, galvanize. So, galvanize. One of the definitions for galvanize is a protective coating that is put over metal, right? And so when we build things outside with wood, we want to use galvanized nails, because the galvanized nails don't rust, because the protective coating helps them to weather the storms of life that come their way. And so I want to suggest in this short point is that galvanizing our marriage, protecting our marriage, is done through faithfulness. And the life lesson story I want to share it's actually not a story I'm not proud to share, because it talks about some failure on my part. But I think it will help drive home the point of what I'm trying to say. And that is that over the years, a few different times in these 30 years, I've struggled with lustful, adulterous kinds of thoughts. And sometimes pornography was involved. But this particular story, I was a truck driver a number of years ago, making deliveries to various restaurants and stores in a nearby city. And one day I started getting deliveries to the neighborhood strip club in this city. And I was just like, oh dear, What am I going to do now? Well, I mean, I could have just made the delivery and left it at that, but over time, going back there repeatedly, week after week, eventually I asked if I could use the washroom, which led me out onto the floor where the things were happening, and I started to watch what was happening a little bit occasionally. And I started to feel this grip, this hold that this had on my heart. And this went on for several months. I didn't tell anything to Angie about it. In the meantime, we were still, active in our church, serving the Lord, teaching Sunday school, leading Bible studies, and on and all of that. But yet there was this part of me in deep distress and in deep struggle. And one day I realized, if I don't change this behavior, if I don't come clean with Angie and move out of this behavior, it is going to destroy me, and it's going to destroy the marriage. Wow. And so I decided one night I'm going to tell her. And we still talk occasionally about this night. We were in our bedroom, and I told her what happened, and her response immediately was to grab a pillow and hit me with it, which I more than deserved. And she stormed out of the bedroom. And a few minutes later, she came back in and she says, "We are going to work on this, and we're going to make it through." And I just, to this day, I am so grateful for a wife who responded that way when I deserved far worse. I deserved to be kicked out. I deserved to be abandoned. But Angie was committed and faithful. And so since that time, I have committed to declaring several things daily about our relationship. And so every day I will pray, and I will just declare to the heavenlies that Angie is the one for me. She is my lover and my best friend, and she is the only one I have eyes for. And so that is my way of galvanizing and protecting the marriage through these positive declarations over who Angie is to me, and so that I don't get caught up in the lustful, adulterous kinds of patterns of thinking again. So
wow. Powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is powerful. And folks, I just really appreciate Paul and Angie's humility and their openness and vulnerability. So I hope that you're getting so much from just these points alone. And we have a bonus for you. So I'm going to transfer it back to Paul and Angie. But thank you so much, Paul and Angie. Keep going.
Well, our last point then for design is the letter N. Nothing separates us. And Paul had another little saying that he can say too. Yeah. That's an N saying.
And so this started all fairly early on in our marriage, where I would say to Angie, no time for a kiss is a bad time. And so we never want to have bad times, so we always want to have time for a kiss. Should we have one right? There we go.
Come on, there we go. Come on.
Yeah. So and nothing, just let nothing come between us, right? And then our marriage will be successful.
Fabulous. Wow. Thank you very much. Folks, if you didn't catch that, design is an acrostic, and please watch the replay. Thank you very much, Paul and Angie. I got so much out of that. I was taking notes, so I was typing on my computer here, so I wasn't looking at the camera the whole time. But anyway, that is powerful. Design, DESIGN. All right. Well, right now, let's take a few moments to thank our sponsors. Welcome back. We are now in the segment where Paul and Angie get to share their business or career stories. Paul and Angie, would you kindly share a business career story that could help not only marriage coaches such as yourself or entrepreneurs such as yourself, but others in whatever career path they're on, please?
Well, my story, Jackie, is when I was doing interior decorating, I started my own business. I had to make contact with different suppliers and things, and I can tend to kind of go back into my shy self, and it's sometimes hard to bridge new experiences. So I was driving to a supplier one day, and I was feeling anxious about it. And this thought came into my mind. I say it was God. And so a God thought, and it was, he was speaking to me, and he said, Angie, do you believe that I'm with you? And of course I said, well, yes. And then he said, act like it. And I had to laugh, and I thought, how true. For those of us who have faith, our actions, our attitudes need to change to what we really believe. And sometimes we don't live that way, right? But that was a reminder, I can do anything if I recognize that God's with me.
Excellent. Paul?
Well, I just wanted to share real briefly about something that we'll be promoting a bit later, which is our ministry and specifically our videos, which are 2-minute wake-up calls. And Jackie, you have been an incredible blessing to us in this whole journey of starting our ministry and writing our books, and because you've always been so encouraging, and we've appreciated that so much. And so about back in March, I guess, however many months ago that was, we got this idea that we should make these short videos. We'll call them 2-minute wake-up calls connected to our ministry, Arise Now. And so we got all excited about this idea. And for about 2 months, we were thinking, well, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. But we just didn't. And, I was remembering a number of years ago, one of our kids' graduations from high school, the valedictorian was talking about how people are always asking kids when they graduate from high school, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And this valedictorian said, she's come to the conclusion that being ready is overrated. and I thought, we were just feeling like we weren't quite ready to launch these videos. So one day, as May the 1st this year, we're on our way to a mountain bike race that I was participating in. And I said to Angie, I got this idea about a 2-minute wake-up call. Let's practice. And so she's like, okay, I'll video you. I said, oh, you're actually going to video me? So she did. I was just driving, and she videos me while I'm driving, and I'm talking away for a couple minutes, and then she stops and she's like, that was good. I'm going to post it. And I'm like, what? You're going to post it? and so then that was how it all began. It was like we just needed to get started instead of waiting and thinking that we're not ready or the time isn't just right. The key is with the ideas and the dreams, the things that God has put within us, we just need to start moving. We need to start going with it. And, it wasn't perfect. It could have maybe been done better, but we got started. And then we did another one on the way home that day. And since that time, we've just been doing several every week. And it was just finally, we just needed to get started. So with whatever God has put within you, those of you who are watching, I just encourage you, just get started. Just get started, and He will lead you and He will guide you as you start moving.
Oh my goodness. Paul and Angie, these are just wonderful stories, and I really get a lot out of that. So folks, just get started. Like Paul and Angie, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, seriously, perfect is overrated. We're never going to be perfect this side of heaven. So just get over ourselves and just do it, right? And as Angie shared, she said, that the Lord spoke to her and He said, do you have faith? And when Angie said yes, then the Lord said, then act like it. So just act like it and it'll come, right? So thank you very much, Paul and Angie. We're up to the legendary legacy section right now, Paul and Angie. So would you kindly hold up a picture of your children, please, to show everyone who's watching the video podcast, and those who are watching or listening to the audio podcast, you'll have to tune into the video podcast.
I've got 2 pictures here. Here's one of the family, the whole family first. There we go.
Beautiful.
And for those who have seen some of the 2-minute wake-up calls, those are the ruins, the mill ruins that I did in one of our 2-minute wake-up calls where we went to take pictures.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
For Christmas one year. So there are our children, Jamie, Melissa, and Samantha. And that was our dog, Sky. He's no longer with us, but we do have one that looks pretty much like that now, Lady. So we like the Westies.
There we go. Wow, beautiful. And Paul and Angie, just picture this. Imagine in your minds, decades and decades and decades from today, imagine you're on your deathbed and you have about 5 minutes with your children, your relatives and grandchildren, friends gathered around your bed. What final words would you say to them and advice on how they can leave a legendary legacy?
Okay.
You can start with the first 3 things.
Okay, so Jamie, Melissa, and Samantha, it is our desire that you and your children would let faith be your guide, that the foundation of your existence would be your relationship with God, Father, Son, and Spirit.
We encourage you to value relationships more than things, ideals, and schedules, because that's easily a temptation we can fall into. But relationships are more important than all of that stuff.
Pursue your dreams. Know that if God's put it in you, it's possible.
Work hard and never, ever give up. Persevere, be diligent, and you will see great things come to pass in your life.
Cultivate a heart to serve others and be unselfish. Make a difference in others' lives. Look for ways to be a blessing to others. Find a good balance for caring for your own needs and the needs of others.
Enjoy every day. Make the most of every opportunity, for we never know how many days we will have. The enemy of our souls comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but Jesus comes to give us life and life more abundantly. And if we miss out on the blessing of today, it's been stolen from us. So to really live life abundantly the way Jesus intended, we need to enjoy today, not worry about tomorrow and not have all kinds of regrets about yesterday, but we need to enjoy today. So we encourage you to enjoy each day because it is a gift.
Commit to living a life full of integrity and make it your aim to release the kingdom of God in the earth in all that you do.
Oh my. Beautiful. That's powerful. It's just a sacred moment. Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul and Angie. Whew. Well, I would like to now move on to the legacy sprint where I get to ask questions of Paul and Angie, and they get to answer in 15 seconds or less. Are you ready, Paul and Angie?
All right. Yeah, let her rip.
Awesome. What is one reason people fail in their marriages?
I would say it's selfishness.
And I would say a lack of thankfulness or wrong expectations.
Excellent. What is one action that you take daily that brings you to your present healthy marriage?
I bless Angie every morning when I leave for work. I say, "Blessed are you, Angie Wagler, most blessed woman on the earth. May the Lord anoint you and open doors before you that unlock your destiny."
And I do little love notes, little text messages, "Love you, mister," or just something like that.
Excellent. Great idea. What are your top 3 favorite books, Paul and Angie?
Well, one of my favorite ones is What's So Amazing About Grace by Philip Yancey.
And I keep going back to The Final Quest by Rick Joyner. And then a third book that we both like about relationships is Keep Your Love On by Danny Silk.
I've heard so much about that book by Danny Silk. Excellent. What is your favorite dish?
Well, I'm a chocolate lover, so I think it's a hot fudge sundae.
No.
I like roast beef dinners with whipped potatoes, and it would be my grandmother's coconut butter tarts would have, been on my top favorite list.
Oh my goodness, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
Favorite vacation spot, please?
Quebec City and
Mount St. Anne, which is just outside of Quebec City. It's a great place for mountain biking, which is what I love to do at Mount St. Anne.
Wow, wonderful. Favorite hobbies or leisure activities?
Well, as I said, I love to mountain bike, so that's one of them. I love watching sports on TV. I follow a number of sports, so I love that. And I also really enjoy taking naps.
I like anything kind of creative. So anything doing with creative pursuits, art, design, music, songwriting, just being creative.
Excellent. And what is your favorite quote, Paul and Angie?
My favorite quote comes from Lance Armstrong, who's a not so popular person right now. But anyway, his quote is this, is pain is temporary, quitting is forever.
Ooh.
So that keeps me going in mountain bike races when I want to quit, or it keeps me going in life. It keeps me going in marriage. I don't want to quit.
I keep coming back to a quote, and I don't know if I've got this word for word, but Rick Joyner said, most of us still have 300 or 400 things wrong with us. but God only chooses to deal with one or two at a time. And I love it because it just talks about how love covers over so much. And I try to live my life that way instead of focusing on the things that are wrong, the things that are right.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, folks, I want to end this episode with my legacy quotation for today. There is nothing nobler or more admirable than when two people who see eye to eye keep house as man and wife, confounding their enemies and delighting their friends. And that's by Homer. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the 21st Century Legacy Letters Show. And here's my encouragement to you: go and live a life of significance and leave your legendary legacy. All right. How did you feel about that, Paul and Angie?
That was
That's
good.
good, yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I want to move into the Q&A and also to the bonuses. So folks, check out these bonuses that Paul and Angie have for you. You will get, when you click on the orange button that says, I want my bonuses, now you're going to get your free copy of Angie's best-selling book, All My Rooms. I read the book. It is wonderful. It is so easy to read and it's very enriching. So go get your copy now. Plus, when you go to that page and sign up for that free book download, you'll also get the 2-minute wake-up calls that Paul and Angie are producing every week. They have videos that are so inspiring and will motivate you in all different areas of your life: your marriage, your relationships if you're not married, your work. So different areas of life, they always have these inspiring messages. So please sign up for those bonuses. And in the meantime, I want to open it up to your questions. If you have any questions and want to come into this live webcast room, please just raise your hand, and there's a button you can press there, invite as a speaker. So if, or just say, yes, I want to come into the live webcast room. As long as you have your microphone working and your camera, we'd love to be interacting with you live. And in the meantime, I want to ask Paul and Angie some questions that came in through the survey. Okay, here's the question. Here's one question. Paul and Angie, I'm 100% committed, but my spouse is not. We need outside intervention, but my spouse is not willing to get outside intervention. Do you have any suggestions for getting a spouse set free from his addiction to playing games on his phone for 3 to 5 hours per day? It's affecting our marriage big time because he makes no time for me. What would you say to that, please? And I have a bunch of other questions, so let's make this one short and sweet, but to the point.
Yeah, that's a difficult situation. To know how to handle that in a way that is life-giving. Do you have some thoughts on that?
I think the key is to not be nagging, because people generally don't respond well to nagging. So that's key number one. Trying to keep a positive, thankful heart in the midst of that, a loving heart towards the spouse who's in this type of situation, and lots and lots of prayer, because somebody needs a revelation to their heart that they have a problem, and so lots of prayer going along with that, but just trying to keep positive in the midst of that, which I know can be a real challenge. But a successful marriage really does need both people 100% committed, and when one is withdrawn a bit, that does present some real challenges. But I say don't give up. Like we said earlier, we never want to give up, and we always want to still hope and believe that there can be a change of heart there in that situation.
Excellent.
Sometimes in those type of situations too, there may be, not necessarily every case, but there may be other things going on. That husband may be overwhelmed with life, and that's just a way to disconnect. Sometimes, because I think sometimes I've been known to do some games on the computer and stuff too in the years, and sometimes it's like you just need an escape, but we get kind of caught in that, right? So yeah, so it's the what to do with that. But I would agree with Paul, like addressing it in a negative way isn't probably going to be helpful. It's trying to be creative in how to bring home the effects that has.
And I think trying to discover what the roots really are, like the games on the phone is just a symptom of the deeper problem here in this person's life. And so, like Angie's saying, to get to the roots of that, and praying that the Holy Spirit would do His work to bring that revelation into their hearts. So,
Excellent, excellent. Now, Paul and Angie, this is a question from single people. How would singles become the most attractive single for their future spouse, even if they've been hurt before? Say, for example, they've been through relationships before and didn't work out, and they've been so hurt, or they've been through divorce, they've been hurt, or whether or not they've met their future spouse yet, whether or not they've been in any kind of relationship. What is the best way for them to become the most attractive single for their future spouse?
well, can I answer first?
Go ahead.
So there's two things that come to mind real quick for me. One is to get healed up, go through some counseling, some inner healing type stuff, like Sozo. We've gone through Sozos, which is a counseling kind of thing that is very helpful and brings a lot of healing to the hurts of our heart. And so get healed up. And the other is simply love yourself and be okay with who you are by yourself, because then you will be happy, and you will actually be more attractive to somebody else than if you're coming across as someone who really needs to be with somebody, because that can be a repelling kind of thing to people. So get healed up and really just love yourself. Be okay with who you are, and develop an enjoyment for life every day. And that passion and that joy that comes out of you then will be very attractive to other people.
Angie?
Well, I think that with that, we all know people who feel like they need to be with someone. And Paul is just going to let the dog out. She's making some noise. Nope. And yes, just to be okay and not feel like you need to settle for just anyone because you want to be with someone. There is someone who, there are people who have the right personalities that would click best with you, but sometimes people will jump into relationships because they just don't want to be alone instead of looking at the situation. So I would encourage you, be patient and don't settle for less.
Excellent, excellent. And what is, can you share maybe at least one new idea to take someone's wonderful marriage to the next level, please?
Well, I think for me, the thing that I found that I can just see Angie's eyes light up when I do this, it's when I express things to her that let her know how much I not just love her, but how much she is cherished and adored. Then I just see sort of this I don't know, this brightness come over her face, and she just responds incredibly to that. Like when she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is not just loved, but that she's cherished and adored. So I try to find creative ways to say these things to her, and that's one of the reasons why I do the blessing that I do every morning over her. Some mornings she hears it, some mornings she doesn't, but it still happens whether she's totally awake or not. And so it's building that kind of habit into your life that you positively express things with your words, and then also follow it up with actions that back up those words, right?
Yes. Angie?
Well, we all have different love languages as well. So for what would light me up wouldn't necessarily light you up, you know? So it's getting to know your spouse, getting to know the people around you, and what are the things that they delight in, you know, and making it a point to do nice things, to say things that they would appreciate, you know. So it's your words, it's your actions. if it's a quiet walk, or a candlelit dinner, or what are those things that make you feel loved? Think on it, and do those things for your spouse that they would really enjoy and connect with.
Wow, excellent, excellent. Can you share at least one costly marriage mistake that singles or marrieds must avoid, please?
Hmm. Well, one of them was that I shared in my story, right? Where it's where we're not faithful, like in our thoughts. I mean, Jesus took the whole idea of our thought life in terms of lust to a different level than what people thought of before. Before Jesus, they just thought, well, I need to just not have sexual relations with another woman and I'm okay. But Jesus said, if you even look to lust after another woman, you've already committed adultery with her in her heart, or with her in your heart, right? And so it's really protecting yourself from those adulterous type thoughts, and because it all starts in the mind anyway. Nobody just set off to do this without thinking about it first, right? And so we wanna guard our thoughts so that we can protect the marriage through by being faithful.
And I
Mm.
think too, we all have times when we can get upset with one another. How do we handle those type of situations? To go off on a screaming, yelling fit doesn't produce good fruit, So um, uh, there's the golden rule. Jesus also said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So, I don't want Paul yelling and screaming at me, and he's not a yeller and screamer anyways. I'm the one that would have a little bit more of a short fuse. Um, but self-control is huge. So learn to manage yourself, and that will have huge benefits in your marriage.
Mhm.
Excellent, excellent. Oh my goodness. Folks, this is a lot of meat. I mean, so if you're with us on the Q&A, the live Q&A or the replay, this is not going to be part of the edited interview that we're going to launch, right? But it's part of you who are here with us live, and also the replay. You're getting so much meat. Now, I also have some other bonuses for you. And so if you haven't downloaded Paul and Angie's bonus, please do so. Let me first share another bonus with you. And that is, please join our Facebook community. And this is the 21st Century Legacy Letters with Jackie Morey Facebook group. And here are some of the benefits, okay? We have a Pay It Forward challenge every week. And last week, this was the Pay It Forward challenge. Find a book that has impacted your life. Send the author a short story or brief testimonial of how this book helped or served or transformed you. And one of our members, Tanisha, she's part of another group, and there's a member in that group that was an author, and she was greatly impacted by this author's book. So she reached out to him and encouraged him and thanked him and expressed how his book influenced and transformed her life. And she shared it inside the community, and it was just an amazing Pay It Forward story. And I also have a story because we're going through this book. Let me get it for you here. We're going through this book inside the community. It's by Brene Brown, called Daring Greatly. And so I reached out to Brene Brown. I sent her an email through her website, and I just thanked her and told her how much this book means to me and those of us who are going through it in our virtual book club. So I just expressed my gratitude, as well as shared with her the things that I got from the book that are really helping me. So please join the community. I really believe in uh, in you being part of us. And I know that those who are watching live or on the replay are going to be such a good fit for this community. Now, here's the thing. I know that there are trolls out there. There are trolls who want to spam Facebook communities. And so if you're a troll, I'm of course going to ban you, but hopefully none of you who are watching live or on the replay want to spam this group or want to share any kind of negativity or spread negativity. So please join this community. And I don't offer this every single week. I sometimes offer it, but sometimes I don't. So anyway, that's one of the bonuses. And I want to welcome Jay Francis. Hi, Jay Francis. Do you have any questions for Paul and Angie? Dr. Becky says, Jackie, I'm drinking all of this in. It needs to be heard and spoken into over and over again. The values Paul and Angie are sharing. Absolutely. Absolutely so, Dr. Becky. I totally agree with you. So here's one thing that I want to share with you. If you're thinking about, yes, maybe I should or should not join this Facebook group. First of all, we have the book club. It's the virtual book club. You don't have to travel to be part of this book club. You only have to have internet access. And we share our takeaways as well as our actionable ideas that we are personally coming up with for ourselves, right? And then also we're going to be doing a vision board before the end of the year, so that we can start 2017 with a fresh slate as far as what the vision that we want to have for ourselves. Because without a vision, people cast off restraint. Without vision, people perish. So for 2017 to be your best year yet, we want to all be in community together and share and be do our vision boards, right? Also, there's Facebook group accountability. We have massive action Mondays. We have pay it forward storytelling on Tuesdays. We have the live show on Wednesdays, as well as a new pay it forward challenge for the week. And then Thursdays, we have the virtual book club meetings, which are only 30 minutes. It's really power packed, 30 minutes, and we share all the actionable ideas that we've come up with and the takeaways. So it's going to be one of your one of the best 30 minutes of your week, I really believe. And Fridays, we have Finish Up Fridays. We share our wins and any lessons, any failures that we've had. We share that with the community. That way we're all moving forward. And of course, we have the Pay It Forward. All right. So I'm going to just keep that up for a few more moments. And let me ask Paul and Angie one more question. Let's see here. Here's one more question. I saved it for last. In your experience and opinion, why do people not understand that marriage is a covenant, just like the one we have with God, Paul and Angie?
Well, I think that the society that we live in has kind of cheapened marriage, because it's become a bit of a, well, we'll try it. If it doesn't work, we'll just end it, right? And there is some of that mentality in that so many marriages do end up in divorce. And so that I think has helped people to just buy into the whole idea that, well, it isn't a permanent covenant relationship the way that God intended it to be. And so, you know, the things that happen in society tend to shape our beliefs if we don't root our beliefs firmly in, you know, what God is teaching. And so I think that the difference can come when we who are followers of God, you know, declare that our marriage is a covenant, and it is for till death do us part.
Angie?
Well, I think that was good. I think back to like my mom and dad. In their marriage, sometimes there was some issues. And I remember my mom saying once, I was maybe a teenager, and she said, I made my commitment before God and I meant it. And I think maybe some people have a problem with covenant, or maybe don't understand it because they haven't had proper examples. Like there was some rough patches for my parents. My mom said that. It made an impact on me, that I remember that to this day. A marriage is something that you work on. And then maybe the other thing is, from the other perspective, is that because there are problems in marriage and marriage breakdown, people don't believe that they can move past that, right? So what we do need, I think, is just better examples of good marriages, that people can see that this is something that's worthwhile and can be done well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just you may have seen this, Jackie, on Facebook, where just 10 days ago or so, we celebrated my parents' 60th anniversary. And
yes, I remember that.
Last week, there was some leftover treats from that, and I was sharing one of the cupcakes with this person, and they said, "Oh, where are these from?" I said, "Oh, it's from my parents' 60th anniversary." And their response was, well, oh, I only lasted 2 years. And I said, oh, well, maybe you can try again. They said, nope, that's it for me. And so, some people just don't believe that it's possible. But I just want to speak hope into all of those situations, that it is possible to have a good marriage. Even if you didn't have a good example, there are people who are willing to coach and to support people and to encourage people. There's many, many, many good marriages out there that we can learn from.
Wow. Awesome. Well, Paul and Angie, what would you like to promote to our audience? Can you show us your URL? I know it's on your lower thirds, www.arisenow.ca. Oh, there we go.
So yeah, you can go to our website. You can connect there on the landing page. There's a button at the bottom. Facebook. You can follow us or like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to YouTube. There's a button there. If you want to contact us, there's a button to email us there as well. I just want to mention too our books. My book. Whoop, there we go.
Yeah.
In the workbook edition, All My Rooms, and Paul's books. Lessons learned on the seat of my bus and bike.
Lessons learned on the seat of my bike.
And there's a page on our website where you can get links to purchase them on Amazon. If you're from our area, they're at the local Gospel Lighthouse bookstore in Waterloo.
And we also want to just really encourage people to sign up to get our videos. Either access them through the Arise Now Facebook page, or sign up to receive an email, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've been getting such positive feedback from so many on these videos. It has been such great fun making these, and we have been so blessed by the responses of many as they've gone out. So we're very, very thankful for that, and we'd love to share them with as many as possible. So if you are blessed by our videos, feel free to share them and spread the good word, to as many as possible. And we also have had recently the opportunity to go on the radio. Friday nights, we're on AM 1380. You can look that up online or find the information, the link for it on our website, AM 1380 from 10 p.m. till midnight for the next few weeks. We're not sure how long that will go, but we're finding this new experience to be quite delightful, and so glad for that opportunity.
Wonderful. I have read all your books, so I am so delighted to be able to say, yes, everyone, if you're watching this live or on the replay, get all of the books, because they are power packed. They're value packed with so much wisdom, so much keys, and the stories that Paul and Angie share in their books is just so exhilarating to read and very enriching. So please go ahead and go to Amazon, get their books. Just type on the search bar for Paul Wagler or Angie Wagler and Angie Wagler, and then so they'll have different books. So thank you. And I want to give you the opportunity for your final words, please. Final thoughts, please, Paul and Angie.
Well, we just want to bless each person that's watching this today. If you're feeling today that like your marriage or the relationships that you're in, or your desire for marriage, that there's some things that aren't just happening the way that you dreamed that they would. Many times life goes that way, where it doesn't work out the way that we had hoped. But the beauty of following Jesus is that he gives us hope in the midst of all of these situations. We've spent a long time in our life in the wilderness, and we were there because many things didn't work out the way that we hoped that they would. We felt like our dreams had been dashed, our hope had been hijacked, and our destiny had been derailed. But God came in supernatural and sovereign ways and brought us out of the wilderness, and he can do the same for you if you call out to him. So whatever the situation is, I just want to speak hope, a revelation of hope into your heart, that you will never give up and that you will keep walking and keep following him.
Angie?
Well, I am so glad to have been a part, Jackie, for the invitation to come on your show. I want to just say kind of what Paul did too. You know, there's hope for you, whether you're married, whether you're single. You know, there's purpose and there's a design for your life, and I just want to encourage you um, that you know, if you're looking for relationships, if you're looking for happiness, you know, there those things are before you, you know. So I just want to encourage you with that, that we can move forward, and I just want to instill that hope in you today too.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul and Angie. And folks, if you want to get the replay to this, if you registered, you'll get the replay link. And for those of you who want to share this interview, please share this interview with everyone in your Facebook community, as far, and also your friends on Facebook, your family, because I really believe that whatever stage we are in marriage, whether we're newly married or we are divorced and wanting to get married again, or we're single, so everyone can benefit from this episode. So I really would love for you to share this episode again. And I've just popped up another bonus. If you want to become an influencer and a leader, please sign up for my webpage, because I am interviewing influencers and leaders. And what better way to become an influencer and thought leader than tuning in live every week, or watching the replay, reserving your seat and watching the replay, so that you can get all this wisdom, all the value that all these thought leaders and influencers are sharing with you on these show on the episodes of this show. So please just like my Facebook page, and on that page you'll find out who's next, and you'll get all the replay links, and I'll make sure that you find all the replay links, so that you'll get all the value from the many episodes that we've already done, from today's show and going forward. So thank you very much for being with us live or on the replay. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Jake Francis, Mary, Dr. Becky, and those who was live. Who else was live here that I didn't get to greet? Jessica. And there's so many people that signed up. Leah, thank you so much for being with us. And all those who have signed up and are watching the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Look forward to being with you again next week. And stay tuned for more episodes of the 21st Century Legacy Letter Show. Have a great day. And again, live a life of significance and leave your legendary legacy. Thanks so much, folks. Goodbye.